Welcome back in. It's another edition of Jags Live, presented by Eco South Services, live from Walk-Ons. JT Crabtree and Pat Greenwood talking all things South Alabama athletics. You know, before we know it, we're going to have some more sports to add at the docket for us to talk about.
I've already been working on the basketball charts
because
basketball starts at the end of the month. We'll have an exhibition for the men and for the women. And then November 3rd is the first official home basketball game. That's when the women host Akron. Men, we're going to have a schedule soon,
well, it's
supposedly.
It's coming.
But it'll be not we do know it won't be long after November 3rd. But, yeah, basketball's on the way. Soccer's still rolling. Volleyball's still rolling. And, of course, got 6 more football games to go.
That's right.
So we got a lot of opportunities to get back in the win column here.
That's right. We've got plenty still on the docket in front of us, and we're talking their basketball coming up here in just a few weeks. Our show actually next week, we will have a show, even though we're playing on Tuesday. We will have a show here next week from Walk-Ons. It'll be our basketball preview show with Richie Riley, Yolisha Jackson, and hoping some student athletes from the programs will join us as well. So looking forward to that conversation.
Yeah, and that's no slight to football, but it's just, those guys start at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and they're going to go till about midnight at least on Tuesday. So we're not going to make them get back in and do this show next week. So that's why we'll reserve that for basketball. And then after that, we get ready to travel and hit the road for Atlanta with a game against Georgia State, and then finally back home on a Saturday on the first day of November. So weird scheduling.
Yeah, it's we've got 9 days for this one, 9 days for the next one, and then 9 days after that as well. So it's a funky couple of weeks coming up here for football. But, hey, we're looking forward to getting back out there on a Tuesday next week. No football this weekend with a Tuesday game against Arkansas State next week. And a great opportunity to go out there on national television, too, and go put on a show.
Well, and these next two put us on national television.
That's right.
I mean, of course, on ESPN, it's worldwide as well. But when you're talking about traditional network television, our next two are on the ESPN family that you can get on your cable system. And, again, it's a great opportunity for us to play as we continue to build this program. We've only been playing football, period, since 2009.
Right.
We've been Division I since 2012, so we are very early in the stages of building this program. So the more we can get out there, put South Alabama not just in front of our community, but in front of the nation, that just makes it better. And, and again, it's just six opportunities to get back in the win column. Your bowl game's still very much alive.
Yep.
I'm not going to say that the Sun Belt Conference Championship is out of the question either,
right,
because just start winning some football games. And, man, and I hate to say it, and I know coaches hate to hear it, we're so close.
Yeah.
We are so close. So, I'm optimistic about what we can do against Arkansas State. But I'll be honest with you, I don't know which Arkansas State team we're going to get because that's a team that just beat Texas State 31-30. Weird set of circumstances there. Texas State, by the way, is it Lincoln Perry? That's his name, the running back from Texas State?
Yes, who used to be at Arkansas State.
But he's like DJ Dozier at Penn State back in the 80s when I was growing up. He's been in the Sun Belt since like 1912.
Yes.
But Lincoln Perry scored a touchdown with a minute left. They shanked the extra point. And then Arkansas State drives down the field, scores with 7 seconds left. So, so that's a big win for Arkansas State. They're going to come in here with some momentum. But we're going to have a great crowd. We were talking about that today, upwards of 20,000 in our 25,000-seat stadium. Just, that's without the walk-up crowd coming up. So I think we're going to have a great atmosphere Tuesday. And I know that our players who man, they fight their tails off.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes.
They absolutely fight their tails off. And I know, there's nobody more disappointed in the Troy outcome than those players and that coaching staff. Okay? As disappointed as we all are as fans, there's nobody that takes it more personally than those guys. And they were right there. They just one play away. So I know that they're anxious to get back on the football field, anxious to get in front of a home crowd. And it does have that feeling. We talked about it prior to the Troy game, that if we can get one thing happening for us, flip that switch, I could see us running off a whole bunch of wins, because that's what this team's capable of. We have the players to be able to do it. We have the coaching staff to be able to do it. We just got to make it happen. So we got an opportunity.
We've got plenty of opportunities. We've got plenty of football talk coming up here on the show. We'll talk offensive line with Coach J.O. We've got two of the big guys up front. They'll be joining us here in just a little bit as well. Of course, head coach Major Applewhite for his thoughts. We've got soccer and volleyball still going on. They racked up some wins last week. Actually, the highlights rolling right now from volleyball. They swept both matches against ULM on the road. It's a beautiful Fant Ewing Coliseum in Monroe. But coming away with a win on the road, they're 4-0 in conference play. Nice start.
And I think they play Texas State
tomorrow and Friday.
Yes, on the road this week. So big weekend for volleyball. Texas State's a good volleyball program, obviously. But yeah, volleyball is good. And then they're going to come home not obviously this week, but next week. They'll play Southern Mississippi the 17th and 18th at Jag Gym. Absolutely free to come out there, and built-in atmosphere at Jag Gym.
It's
great,
awesome.
A great place for volleyball, so I'm looking forward to having those ladies back in town.
And soccer played this past weekend at home against Arkansas State. And for the first 72 minutes or so, the weather was okay. It was windy. It was a little bit of light rain when we started that thing over there at the cage. But then the 72-minute mark, the bottom just fell out. And it was like we were playing in a tropical storm for a little while there.
Yeah,
it was rough.
And if you haven't seen the video, go to jagnationtv.com or JagNationTV on YouTube, and you can see the highlights, because that second goal we scored was in the middle of that monsoon. And how anybody saw a soccer ball at that point, I have no idea. But it's just like baseball. If there's no lightning, you can play in whatever conditions you are. In the field was, we only had 18 minutes to go, so that field can hold up for 18 minutes.
Yep.
Let's see what we can do. There's no lightning in the area. Let's play. And that was one of the more – Zamaya Hill was the one that put it in. That's one of the more impressive goals, because I don't know if she saw the ball. I don't know if the goalie saw the ball. But you got that big net there, and she saw it just enough to put it in there, and we beat Arkansas State 2-0.
And it was funny. Her celebration, which is in those highlights, you can see she's trying to run from the north goal where she scored all the way to our bench, which is on the opposite side. And she's like throwing her hands in front of her face, like wiping raindrops, because she can't see where to go to find the bench. It was some rough stuff up there.
Yeah.
Like you said, there was no lightning, so that was fine. But the wind was fierce. There was some really heavy rain. Our ESPN Plus crew got some really good shots of, you could see the sheets of rain just pounding the team. They're on the floor, and then it's got to be just awful running around in a heavy jersey. Those big socks, the tall socks they've got on are probably just soaked in the shoes. So I'm sure they had a blast those final 12 minutes out there.
Yeah, but at the same time, though, you played football back in the rain.
That's true.
We used to live for Saturday nights when it rained all night, because that means Sunday you go out to the field, you have to wear white, white shorts, white shirt, and you have to play tackle.
Yes.
So I know part of them was miserable, but I know our camera people. We have cameras on each inline. And I was not here Sunday, but from what I understand,
it's very convenient, by the way.
Yeah, exactly. The camera operators that were working cameras 3 and 4 on the inlines were just having a ball.
That's awesome.
Because at that point, what are you going to do?
Yeah.
Either get ticked off or enjoy what's going on. And I think they had a blast with it. And our cameras are still okay. That's that's the main thing. Did we keep the cameras dry? And we did.
Yeah. So we've got soccer at home coming up this Friday. They don't play it all again until Friday, when they'll host the Thundering Herd of Marshall coming up, and then we're getting down to crunch time for the end of the regular season. The regular season wraps up in a week and a half,
right.
And we've got a pretty darn big last home match against Texas State, who is the current leader, and it's by points. It's not by record. Well, the records create the points, so you get it's 2 points for a win. Is that right? 1 for a draw.
Correct.
And so we are 1 point behind Texas State right now in the standings, and so we'll host the Bobcats next week over at the Cage. That's going to be a big old matchup over there.
It will be. Right now, if the season ended today, we'd be the 3 seed, because Texas State, I think their RPI is 39, somewhere around in there,
nice.
Which is pretty impressive. We're in the mid-70s, so we still have an outside shot of getting an at-large bid. But, yeah, you have your East Division winner, your West Division winner are 1 and 2, and then you just start going, okay, who's next?
Yep.
And so right now we would be 3, but have an opportunity to get up to that 2 or that 1 spot.
All right, so it's all on the table still in front of us, and still plenty more to come here from Walk-Ons. Jags Live presented by Eco South Services. When we come back, we'll talk some offensive line. The big guys up front don't get enough love. So
I agree.
Let's do that for the next couple of segments here. Jags Live will roll on when we come back. No Jags football this Saturday, but we'll kick it off next Tuesday against Arkansas State, a 6:30 kickoff in Hancock-Whitney Stadium. And let's talk some offensive line now. The big guys up front, the guy coaching them, our position coach of the offensive line spot, is Jason Onyebuagu. Did I get it?
Perfect.
Look at me.
Nice.
I purposely kept the roster sheet off the computer to make sure I got it, but everyone calls you J.O.
J.O., yeah. That's the easiest way for me.
Well, Coach, good to see you. Appreciate you coming down here. Just the week's a little different because we're playing next Tuesday. So what have you guys been up to so far this week?
Man, just trying to find a way to get an edge in a bye week. So watching a little tape early, trying to get to some some situational stuff before you normally would in a week, and just making sure we can do everything we can as coaches to put these guys in a situation to go out there and be successful. And then for them, they've had a couple of days to rest, get their bodies back and enjoy some some time away from football. But we went out there and had a pretty good one yesterday, Tuesday. So there it was good to feel the energy back out there, after a tough one. So, they're excited, they're ready to roll.
And I know it's kind of a pain in the butt because tomorrow is Monday and the next day is, and then it's going to flip again because we've got a Thursday game. But the fact that we get a couple of extra days rest, how important is that at this stage of the season? We played half the season and everybody's banged up, especially the O-line.
Yeah, I mean, it's that time of the year. Other teams had a chance to kind of have a couple early buys, and we didn't, and we've had some physical games. And I think there's nobody who could turn on the tape and question that. So anytime you get a chance to, a couple days without putting those shoulder pads on your body and go and run full speed into somebody else, it's a benefit. So it's been good.
Let's talk about your guys that you've got up there in that offensive line. You've got a mix and match some different guys this year. Kind of tell us what it's like in that offensive line room.
I mean, it's an honor to coach those guys, man. It's a special group of dudes. I couldn't ask to have a better room. You're going into the season with, 7, almost 8 guys that you feel good about playing. So we talked early on about, it doesn't really matter who's starting, who's out there. It's just at the end of the day, when we got 5 guys out there, we out there doing our job at a high level, and that's what we're trying to, achieve and execute every opportunity we get. But, a couple of older guys that, have kind of been leading the group, and then guys that, got a chance to play a lot last year. We had some returners that have been, leaders and kind of keeping us going up front. A couple of the guys that are sitting here today been doing a really good job, but it just makes your job easier when you got linemen that are leaders for you up front and can kind of keep things under control throughout a game and go out there and kind of lay the foundation every day of, practicing hard and showing up to work, ready to roll and doing whatever they can to help the team. And I think that's the biggest thing that you see from our room, no matter what the role is that week or, what we have to do is just, you want guys that go out there and they're going to fight for the team. And that's what's big.
And let's talk about the guys behind you specifically, Malachi Preciado, Asher Hale. What do they bring specifically, and how has their game grown over the past, say, 6 months?
It's been great to see. Just getting them for the first time last year, and Asher being a freshman, and then Malachi really getting his first chance to play football at a high level with a lot of reps and being a leader at the center position. It's been good to see the transition of you feel like you got to do just a little less coaching right now because they are able to take the things that we built last year into this year and things that we're doing now and be able to roll with those things and make some of the adjustments before I can even make them and see things on film that maybe I didn't see. It's just you start to see that maturity and that leadership from these two guys, and they've done a heck of a job this year.
You said you do some less coaching. I don't think that's true. I don't think you take a snap off, man. You're hard on those dudes.
That is very not true, but I like to feel that they're growing into the group of guys that we have a position where we can prepare for some things, but when you get out there, they got to fix some problems on their own without me, and they're starting to do a good job of that and seeing things before I see them. So just that maturity and that growing up a little bit up front from those two it's been big for us.
You got the side eye when you said less coaching. You're like, come on, man. Come on. We know better than that.
We're a program that's not built around that at all. We're going to grind and we're going to try to find and scratch every itch that we can to just make sure that we're trying to put these guys in a good situation to go out there and be successful.
Well, obviously this is year 2 for you at South Alabama. Kind of talk us through how you got over here to the Jags.
Man, just kind of a journeyman. Just trying to continue to find ways to keep progressing in the profession and be an offensive line coach that. You're putting a good product on the field and guys that play hard up front. And so coming over here from Jackson State where I got to work with some of my close friends in the profession, that was big. But, before then being up at Northern Illinois, my alma mater, that was an honor. I wasn't coaching O-line up there. I was coaching tight ends. But, that opened up my, football for me of seeing it from a different level, seeing it from the standpoint of just the totality of the game and not just from up front offensive line. So, that experience for me was great. And then, being able to come down here last year and joining with, the offensive minds that, we've had in our program and that we got now, working with Coach Petrino and Coach Applewhite, just, continuing to, learn the game of football just from the offensive side. And just, it's been amazing. It's been awesome.
How much did you know about South Alabama while you were at Jackson State?
I knew actually quite a bit. Actually, we came down and practiced in the JTC when we were playing in the Gulf Coast Challenge.
Okay.
So, that was kind of my first time on campus. I got to see it. I was actually blown away. I'm like, man, I had no idea it was this nice. We got a chance to practice there, so that kind of really opened up to seeing it in person. But I had followed it over the years. Actually, my former boss had to stop at South Alabama before, so it was kind of, I knew of it. I just, hadn't really got a chance to see it, and then got a chance to see it when I was over at Jags State when we practiced at the JTC, and I was blown away by campus, man. It's awesome.
You're coaching offensive line. Those guys don't get enough love, obviously, and we talk about that a lot because that's a tough position, and not only in terms of just physicality, but also, mentally, you're getting beat up every single play, and you got to push through that stuff, right?
Ain't no doubt, and I think that's the what you're saying there is exactly the point. Like, nobody really kind of takes that part into it. It's they see when we give up a sack, or they see when we give up a tackle for loss, but they don't see the pounding that those guys take every play. And playing the position, as an O-line coach, you understand. Like, I talk to them guys all the time. Like, I try to do everything I can to help them and get through, because I know those feelings. Those days where you're putting those shoulder pads on, and your neck and your shoulder can barely get through the hole because you're sore and you're banged up. But there's no better feeling than being able to work with 4 other guys every play to have success. And then at the end of the day, man, being able to put your hands on another man and move him against his will, man, there's something powerful about that in our game. And, that's the part we really enjoy. So it's always fun, to have an opportunity to coach that position, knowing what, we have to go through on a daily basis to get that final product that people see.
And, you guys aren't stat-driven like the running backs room or the wide receiver room. I know you grade and you do all the things that are important to you, but when you do look at the stats and you see that we ran for 250 or whatever it was against Troy, you got to sit back and go, all right, those are my guys, man. I don't care who you have in the backfield. You're not running for 250 if you don't have an offensive line in front of you.
Yeah, early in my career that mattered, but right now, it's win-loss for me.
Yeah.
We could rush for 2 yards, and if we got to win, we got to win. So at the end of the day, man, but it's something to that. It's powerful when you're going out there. That's the biggest one that offensive linemen look at is the stat is rushing yards and being able to, turn around and hand the football off. That was the origination of the game of football. So,
right.
There's nothing more, there's nothing better than that when you can finish a day, with a pretty high number there running on the ground. But, as a coach now who's kind of been doing it for a while, I'm not looking for that first. I'm looking to see, how many TFLs we had, how many sacks we gave up. Those are the stats that stick out to me now. So, but it's always good when you can come out of a game knowing that, man, we got some talented, running backs, obviously. Cantrell does a great job, PJ and Keenan. And so it don't matter who we're turning around and handing it off to. If we're doing our job at a high level, somebody back there should have some success.
Coach, appreciate you coming down here. I know it's kind of a funky week with, like we've been saying, tomorrow's Monday, so you officially start game week tomorrow. But appreciate you carving out a little bit of time to talk about your boys here tonight.
No, anytime. I appreciate you guys.
Appreciate it, Coach.
All right, we'll take a quick timeout. We will talk with our student-athletes from the offensive line. When we come back, Jags Live, presented by EcoSouth Services, continues when we return. All right, we all had to kind of shift down a couple of seats here to make room for our offensive line.
How small are the radio guys?
Yeah, you said, Pat, we had to we fit all the receivers up here just fine.
Yes.
Kind of the big guys in the offensive line joining us now. Asher Hale, Malachi Preciado joins us. Guys, good to see y'all.
Yes, sir, you too. What's going on?
First off, not surprised to anybody, but y'all have got like an individual catering order over there with the food you got. How much y'all have giant? It's not like the typical standard plastic bag. It's the full catering bag you guys.
Oh yeah, it's a pretty big bag.
Right.
I think this is a solid meal. Normally.
All right, what you got, Malachi?
I got a steak, some boudin balls, and the mini burger appetizer.
Okay.
And a salad. And
a salad. There you go. You got some greens on top there.
Yeah.
Asher, what you got?
I got a quesadilla with the bang bang shrimp and the mozzarella logs.
Okay.
So
mozzarella logs is pizza logs for us?
Yeah, exactly.
From Buffalo.
Now, will you guys be eating again at 8 o'clock, 8:30?
Possibly.
Something really?
yeah.
Oh, to be young.
Well, guys, just it's you've had a couple of days off. What have you guys done so far this week?
Just rehabbing right now, getting the body right to start playing.
Yeah, me as well. That and watching a lot of TV.
There you go.
Catching up on some binge watching.
Okay. All right. What are you watching right now?
I'm watching SWAT on Netflix.
All right.
So were both of you guys always linemen, offensive linemen?
Yes,
Did you
sir.
play defensive line at all, ever?
I actually played a little defensive line in
Okay.
high school.
Not really.
But you were just always on the offensive side, right?
Always all line.
All right. I've clearly not been an offensive lineman. Everybody says that it's akin to being in a car wreck 70 times a night. Is that accurate?
Oh,
yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
For sure.
Like over fall camp, we had to do PAP and then go to our one-on-one drills. It was like running a marathon then fighting a grown man. So it wasn't.
Yeah, most definitely.
It's something that folks always, one, they don't give you guys enough recognition, but two, I don't know if folks always understand that offensive line, the room is usually the most fun room on the team.
Oh, absolutely.
Best room on the team.
Yeah, there you go.
By far.
Why is that?
'Cause we're just like a unit inside of a unit. You
Yeah.
know, it's a bunch of like 5 close guys. We gotta know what everyone's doing on the O line to communicate and get our job done to the best of our ability.
I feel like we're just a big group of guys that like to have a good time and like to force our will on people.
There you go.
Facts.
That's it.
But I know you guys won't dispute this. Everybody says the offensive linemen are the smartest guys on the team by far.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. Is there anybody close?
The quarterback.
Malachi's kind of
He's
maybe
kind of
not.
rolling around over there.
Okay, maybe like a lot of offensive lines, our offensive line, we got some sharp tools in our. Not the sharpest tools, but we do what we can. We do what we can.
But smarter than the defensive line.
Yeah,
Yes.
for sure.
Okay,
absolutely.
that's all we need.
Absolutely.
That's all we need.
You guys have 2 different stories of how you got to South Alabama. Asher, we'll start with you. You're the hometown guy.
Oh, yes, sir.
You're from St. Paul's. I went to St. Paul's as well. Just kind of
Okay.
talk about your decision to come to South Alabama.
You know, he's growing up. I went to South games at Lad Peoples when they were playing. I remember going in there and being like, oh, I want to play for South and stuff like that, and having the opportunity to play from my hometown. My parents get to come to all my games, or most of the games. The games are at home, but just having them to come watch me play is an opportunity I couldn't pass up.
And Malachi, you from New Orleans, went
Yes,
to
sir.
Purdue, then
Yes,
came
sir.
down here. What made you want to come down here to South?
Honestly, it's close to home. You know, I'm not no hometown hero or anything like Ashley. But it's close to home. It's 2 hours from home. And the opportunity was really good. They needed a center. The previous center just finished. His eligibility ran up, and they needed a center, and I played center, and it was that.
There you go.
And I know the end result is not where we want to be, right?
Right.
But I meant what I said earlier, and I don't know if you guys heard it, but we're right there. I mean, is that the feeling? What's the feeling like around the team right now?
It's exactly that, I would say, honestly.
Yeah, I agree. You know, everybody feels it. Everybody senses it. We're so close. You know, and especially on offense, we're usually just one guy away from breaking a lot of big runs, or from this being a touchdown, a run going from 8 yards to it being a 60-yard explosive.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and it gives people another reason to keep on working hard.
I'm sure folks have all been saying, "Oh, you guys played hard and all that," but y'all are tired of hearing that, right? Like
Absolutely.
yeah. I mean,
I don't know. I had to tell my fiance, like if we played hard, we would have won the game. You know, there's always more that can be done.
Absolutely.
So what's next? What do we have to do Tuesday night against Arkansas State to get the win?
I would just say our biggest thing is execute at a high level. We just got to communicate up front, know exactly who we're going to, what we're doing, every play. If we execute like that, we'll win. I would say that.
On top of that, I think we just need to play discipline. I feel like these past few weeks we've had a few too many penalties.
Yeah,
I think we
I would say so.
we just need to play clean, disciplined Jaguar football up front.
Absolutely.
we were just talking there with Coach J.O., and you guys were cracking a smile when he was saying less coaching and whatnot. So we'll give you a chance to elaborate that. And, of course, we're not going to get you guys in trouble or anything.
Right.
But he coaches you guys hard. And, oftentimes when we're up there at practice, you guys are the last group to leave sometimes.
Yeah.
But just talk about being coached that way and what it's like to play for Coach J.O.
I think Coach O just wants the best out of all of us, honestly. I think he wants us to try our absolute hardest, and if we don't meet the expectations, but we tried our hardest, then he's okay with that, I would say.
I agree. I think I like it. He challenges us to be better than we were the day before, whether it's 5%, 1%. And he critiques the little details, which makes the overall game better. If you master the little details.
In the Alabama-Georgia game, there was a big to-do because Caden Proctor was the guy that got a pass thrown to him and then almost rumbled in there for the touchdown. Could you guys catch a pass? Who's the best? Is that
Honestly, wait, I don't know. We actually had this debate today,
Okay.
this morning in the meeting room. I don't know. I know that Asher might have a chance.
I think it's me.
Yeah.
I think it's me.
Well, Coach is right there. We've got him next. I'll say, look, we throw it to the guy in the
put it
number
in the
70
playbook.
jersey.
We either give
money's
it to
on
Asher or Amari Wiggins.
Okay.
All right.
Amari Wiggins can slide. He can slide. He's
Sure, yeah.
He's fast.
That's sure.
You just can't give it to anybody else.
Give it to Kenton.
Oh, man.
We're talking with Asher Hale and Malachi Preciado from the offensive line for the Jags. And Malachi, before we let you go here, I keep forgetting to ask you, and I'm seeing food here. There's the picture from the bowl game last year. You eating a rib on the field after we went.
Yeah.
Where did the rib come from?
I don't know. I think I just spun it out of my pants. I'm not gonna lie. I was looking around and there was a rib, and then I just grabbed it and was like, yeah, started eating it. You know. I mean, hey, we won. You know, that's
Yeah.
You get to do whatever you want. When
that's
you
what I'm
win, right?
saying. Post game rib.
All right, boys. Appreciate your time,
Yes,
and let's go get that winner here on Tuesday.
Yes, sir.
Thank y'all.
Thanks, guys.
All right, Malachi Preciado and Asher Hale joined us here from Walk-Ons. Take a quick timeout. Show continues next. Good to talk the offensive line, and
Good to have some space back, too, if you're watching us on Facebook
yeah,
Live.
we can sit a little more comfortable with Head Coach Major Applewhite joining us now. Coach, good to see you.
Good to see you.
And it's a little bit of a funky week the next couple of weeks, right? It's
Yep, Tuesday, Thursday.
And
that's kind of our next two against these, against Arkansas State and Georgia State.
I'm a big routine guy. Are you a big routine guy?
Most of us are.
Yeah.
Most of us are.
This kind of throws everything off a little bit, right?
It does. It does. It's a part of being on television, nowadays. And
Yep.
that's just kind of what you do as a coach is you're at the whims of the conference and the media.
But essentially what happens
But
is
you like it, though. I mean, you
Yeah,
do like it because
sure.
you're the only show on Tuesday.
Right. And tomorrow is going to be Monday.
Right.
In terms of your preparation, and then
Right.
the next day is going to be Tuesday. And so you kind of backdate everything. Who has to do all that? Who sits down and goes, okay, Thursday's going to be Monday?
It's we all decide what
Yeah.
I ultimately decide, but I'll ask guys based on this week, based on Georgia State, based on it being a home game, and so on and so forth. How do we want to look at this time period? Do we want to they're coming back from a late bus trip? Do you want to do something on Monday? Would you rather do something on Tuesday? And all those type of things. But it's really not that big of a deal this week because fall break starts tomorrow for our
Right.
players. So there's no classes Thursday. There's no classes Friday. Obviously Saturday, Sunday, there's no classes. So then Friday, the day before the game, is school's back in session. So it's good to be able to, we're an AM practice team. You don't want to back it up 2 hours, because then it starts to affect your preparation in the PM because coaches have less time. But we'll back it up a little bit, get some rest and stuff like that for the guys. But it's really just a blessing that we're not in school tomorrow and Friday.
Yeah, we had some questions why the Monday presser didn't happen. Well, it's because tomorrow is Monday, so we're going to have your press conference tomorrow,
Right.
just like it is Monday. So just if you're looking for that, that's happening in the morning.
And how did you guys use the past 2 days since they were a little extra? Did you get the guys some time off?
Yeah, coming back from the bus trip, the guys, 6 straight games, regardless of record, 6 straight games with no bye week, you need some time. So gave them off other than reporting to the training room, optional lift if you want to lift that day. But, they were pulling back in 1 o'clock, 1:15. So they came to the training room between about 10 and 2, and then went back home. Monday they came in, we reviewed the film, we kind of, buried the Troy game, watched the film, went over the good, the bad, and the ugly. Then they lifted and ran, and then Tuesday we had a good practice yesterday. Just put shoulder pads and helmets on. Just you need to bang a little bit, and when I say bang, I mean you need to get out there in pads and have a little bit of contact. We don't need to wear our guys out, but we need to get back on the field. Snap counts, coverages, calls, communication. You just can't. Even as coaches, if you spend 3, 4, 5 days away from it, it starts to go. So you need to make sure it's staying at the forefront of your mind, your calls, your eyes, where they need to be. And so we had a good one yesterday, and then today was truly like a Sunday. So like you said, Pat, we're going to be back into Monday on Thursday, Tuesday on Friday, so on and so forth.
And look, I know everybody's frustrated, but what is the feeling around the team right now? Because we have 6 opportunities still ahead of us.
Yeah, the guys are good, and I think it's more individual based. I'm not going to sit there and paint everybody with one broad stroke,
Right.
but I've been a part of teams, and just reflecting personally, my first year at Texas, we were 4-7. I wasn't going to play. I was a red shirt. Mm-hmm. There were some guys, it did not matter to them at all. They could have been on the moon, and it did not matter. Then there were some guys that they could count the sands in the hourglass. And, I got 5 games left. If we don't turn this around, then this isn't going to go the way I want. And it's like our Coach Davis, my offensive coordinator and position coach told me in college, it says, you have 48 and you have 12. And y'all are going to look at things very different. And that's the reality of it. And then you have some guys, it's a team. It's an office. I should be playing more. It's a reality. By and large, the effort, the commitment, all the guys have been really, really good. The ones who, might be pissed off they're not playing quite as much and this doesn't bother me as much, my times next year or this, that, and the other, they're hard to find.
Right.
Which they need to be for me and for other coaches because you just don't want to be around those kind of people. But I feel like the guys have continued to give it. They're continuing to do the right things in practice, and then we're obviously trying to correct other issues that keep popping up in our games. But they're responsive, and they're giving good effort, and they're playing hard, they're playing physical. We're not always playing smart, we're not always executing, but they are playing the right way.
Effort's the thing that you can't coach or whatnot. That's the starting block is you want to make sure that's there, and that's not a problem, obviously, right?
No, and we talk about effort as a personal decision. It's the same thing in your workouts or whatever your personal studies are. Devotionals, however much time you want to put into it is what you're going to get out of it, and your effort is up to you. If a coach has to sit there and make you give effort, or have to find some quote on Instagram that's pretty cool, then you're going to have a long life. If somebody else has got to get you ready to go. So our guys, we got a lot of self-starters on our team. The effort's there. That's also the minimum expectation. Like you should try. If you don't try, then honestly, I'm trying to find a way to get you out of Mobile.
Yeah. What did you take out of the Troy game?
There's a lot of things I took. The number one thing is just from an offensive standpoint, we have to give our guys opportunities. And if they do well with them, great. If they don't, then we gave our guys opportunities. But I don't want to walk out with a bullet in the chamber. I just don't. I'd rather it be smoking and empty. That's the biggest thing. There's little things in terms of just the travel and stuff like that, locker room, those type of things. But the main thing was just more offensively. There's some things that I saw defensively that we can do a better job of helping our guys get in position when we see it early in the game and it exposes us. We need to make that adjustment, and it doesn't need to happen again. So there's some things that I saw from that standpoint.
Coach, we'll take a quick timeout. We'll fully dive into Arkansas State here in a bit here. When we come back, we'll take one timeout and continue our conversation with Coach here when we return. Back here from Walk-Ons, we're getting ready for a conversation about our next football matchup. It's a Tuesday night next week against Arkansas State. Coach, Arkansas State, they pulled out a wild one last time out against Texas State, huh?
They did, and it's amazing when you look at it because it's hard to lose a ball game when you have over 500 yards of offense, 0 turnovers, over 300 yards rushing, and you score over 30 points. It's hard to lose a ball game, but somehow that happened at Texas State. And obviously, there was a situation there at the end of the game, inside the 5-yard line, and they're trying to maintain possession because it's a tie ball game, but they don't want to put it in the field goal kicker's hands. So the back goes to the end zone. There's a minute left, and Arkansas State drives the field. And on the touchdown that Texas State had, they missed the extra point, so they're only up 6. So Arkansas State goes down, scores in that minute, and then makes their extra point, wins the ball game. But yeah, they did a great job at home. Like I said, they obviously they had to create some of their own offense. They didn't get any takeaways. They didn't slow them down at all. They had to match scores.
Well, the first thing I saw when I watched that Arkansas State game, Lincoln Perry's still there. Like, how long has he been in the Sun Belt, man? I mean,
him and Devin are going at it toe to toe.
See, I said it earlier. DJ Dozier for me.
Yeah.
Every time Alabama would play Penn State, I'm like, DJ Dozier is still there. You kidding me? Todd Blackledge is still the quarterback. You kidding me? But anyway, but the fact is, Arkansas State has the momentum. They've got some confidence coming in. So it's a dangerous team either way you look at it. But they're going to have that added juice coming in.
Yeah, they did a great job against Texas State, and they've played well in some of their other games too. They had their Auburn, Arkansas experience. They played Iowa State at home, tough, like we played Tulane, tough at home, all that stuff. But at the end of the day, it's going to matter what happens that Tuesday night, regardless of what's happened in the past. Same thing with Texas State. Regardless of what they had done in the past, it didn't matter when they played Arkansas State. We just got to go out and play great ball, go get a win.
They've got a quarterback that's been there now for 3 years, Jalen Rayner. That's unheard of nowadays for a group of 5 school to keep a quarterback for 3 years.
Yeah, I mean, if you pay him well, you'll keep him. And that's the hard part about this game. But if you do pay well enough, you can keep people. So that's something obviously we're trying to generate here with long, loyal, strong, and faithful. But that's the name of the game. It's like my wife tells me, you get what you pay for, Major. When I ask those questions.
But talk about the difficulty of defending a guy like Rayner because he can throw the football, but he doesn't mind tucking it either.
No, he can run the ball and extend plays. He's a strong kid. Accurate when he is decisive. When he's not decisive, obviously, like every other quarterback, they're not as accurate. But when he knows where he wants to go with the ball and he sees the looks that he is getting, he can really, really hurt you. And, all you got to do is watch the last minute and 4 seconds of that game, and he walks right down the field. I don't think he missed one. He hit every ball. So he can absolutely play, and he's got some good, Chauncey and Book along with him. Both of those guys can play. They've got good backs. I know they lost one back earlier with an injury, but Kenyon can play, and they've got good players, good skill players around him.
We know Kenyon Clay from being at Southern Miss, so that helps with familiarity and whatnot. But just from a running game standpoint, you mentioned they lost Cross for the year. They're starting running back. So what have they looked like in the running game since then?
They're still good in the running game. They're still good in the running game. They'll use their quarterback more in the red area, maybe on some third downs and kind of some design quarterback runs. But they can still run the football. They're not, just chuck it every time. They've got good backs. They do a good job with their scheme, understanding what you're trying to do up front. Kenyon's a good player. We tried to recruit him in the portal as well. We just didn't have enough money. That's it. It comes down to the sense.
Butch Jones, obviously, has been around many, many programs. What kind of coach is he? What kind of challenge is he specifically?
Well, he's going to turn over every stone. He's going to be thorough. He's going to demand that his coordinators are that way. He's going to want an organized, disciplined team to come in on the road. He's going to put a value on special teams. His return game has been good this year. They got a dynamic returner that took one back against Arkansas. But they've always, I don't want to say they've always done great in every game, but they always they ask questions, and you have to have answers from a special team standpoint. Whether it's the way they're returning the ball, or whether they're covering kicks, or the way they're coming after punts, they ask questions. And it is not a gimme part of the game where it's just kind of gentlemen, like we'll kick it out of the end zone, you'll kick it out of the end zone, and we'll fair catch it, and you'll fair catch it. It's not. There's an advantage trying to be gained there.
You mentioned a couple of the receivers earlier with the Chauncey kid, and everyone talks about Corey Rucker and what he's done. He's kind of like Lincoln Perry.
Yeah,
he's been there for
Booker,
8 years.
Rucker, yeah.
But you look at them, and then you mentioned Chauncey Cobb. I mean, that's a guy too that's come on the scene. He's really done a lot in the passing game for him.
He has, and they know where they want to go with the ball, and they make sure that they have him in those positions for Jalen, and he does a good job of finding them. I mean, it's clear on money downs, third down, red area opportunities. It's very obvious this ball is going to this kid, on this route for this reason. But good teams do have tendencies. They do a good job of executing.
At the same time, we can talk all about their personnel and what they do and how we've got to scheme against them. What do we need to do? What have you liked? What have you disliked as we move forward? What needs to happen Tuesday night?
We need to score more points early. We need to give our team more enthusiasm, belief early in the game. When we are playing well defensively, and it may be the exact opposite Tuesday night. We may go out there and score 28 points, and we give up 28 points.
Mm-hmm.
We're like, man, this is going to be a shootout. But I feel like for our team and what I've seen in the past, and I'm just going off of what I've seen in the past, is we need more explosive plays, more energy, more enthusiasm early in the game, more belief, as opposed to – I told our guys I feel like sometimes we're arm wrestling like this. I mean, not all the way down, but we're arm wrestling like this, and I want to be here. And those are some of the things that – it's not a great coach, wonderful visual, but
Facebook Live saw it.
But yeah, absolutely. but at the end of the day, like that kind of explosive plays on offense, some takeaways on defense in the first half is a great takeaway in the third quarter. It's huge. We only got 3 points, but takeaways like that in the first quarter, second quarter, that can create that momentum. Big special teams plays, then obviously offensively creating momentum early in the ball game. That was something that has just come about, in the last 2-3 weeks, but we've been good on offense against Auburn. We were good on it, 14-0 against 2. We were good in those first 3 ball games. Coastal plays a different style of defense. It was tough to get going against those guys. North Texas, we go down in the first series and score. But then we stall out in the next 3 series. And that's what I'm talking about, is just a field goal on one of those 3 series. 4 first downs and punting them inside their 10. But that type of momentum that we can move the ball, I think our team needs to feel that.
You mentioned some turnovers, and Nehemiah Chandler forced a takeaway last time out. I mean, can you talk a bit about how that guy has grown from – we went in that position returning no starts. Yeah. Didn't really know what we had with some of those guys, and Nehemiah's been great.
He's done a great job in coverage. He really has, and he's working really hard at his game. And I'm talking about all of it. We had a good talk the other day, and just share a little bit of it is like, you're a great shooter. You're a great shooter. Can you set screens? Can you play defense? Can you move? Can you open the floor? How are you in transition? How are you at the end of the game? Can you play without the ball? You know, those kind of questions. And a lot of corner you hear because everybody's dream is the NFL. And in the NFL, they play all-man coverage for the most part. So you have to be able to cover their best receiver if you're going to play in the NFL. So it's all coverage-based. And there's very little talk about zone. There's very little talk about tackling. You know, and those are things that he has seriously put his mind towards and really put his heart towards, and he's working on, you know, developing his game. And we talked about, you know, here's current reality and here's our vision for you. And here's how we're going to create value for you as you get closer to your, you know, reality. I mean, our vision for you. And he's working. I mean, he's working really hard at that. He's very coachable. I brought him up to the team yesterday. I said, because, you know, you should be able to coach your best players hard. And I'm able to coach this guy hard. And I say some things that some of y'all may look and go, wow, you know, you're going to take that from Coach? He doesn't care. The good ones don't care. They don't care about the delivery. They care about the message. I remember talking to Jerry Jeudy one time at football practice at Alabama in 2019. Mac Jones threw him a ball, and he walked over by me and he said, could I have caught that? And I didn't know Jerry very long. I mean, it was spring practice, and I was like, well, you know, Mac could have put it a little. He said, that's not what I asked. Should I have caught that ball? And the great ones want truth. You know, they don't want feedback. they don't want anything other than unadulterated truth. He didn't ask where the ball was thrown. He asked me, could I or should I have caught that? Based on what you know I am, should I have caught that ball? I don't care where the ball was thrown. And I realized at that point, I was like, okay, it's a different breed of guy right here. And that's the way Nehemiah is. And he's taking hard coaching from Jason Washington as position coach. He's taking coaching from Will Wyndham. Obviously, I'm a little more big picture. I'm not going to teach anybody how to backpedal and break on an out route. But he's very receptive to that. So, therefore, I just those guys genuinely pan out well and do well.
It's a 6:30 Tuesday kickoff next week against Arkansas State. And, Coach, this is a unique opportunity, too, because typically we're the only game on in the country. So it's an opportunity to go out there and show some people what South Alabama football is about, right?
That's exactly right. Exactly right. I'm looking forward to it. It's always love to play against Butch. You know, we spent a couple years together at Bama. Enjoy that friendship. But, yeah, no, you hit the nail on the head.
Coach, appreciate your time, and let's go get that win.
Thank you. Go Jags.
Appreciate it, man.
Yes, sir.
All right. Said Coach Major Applewhite joining us here from Walk-Ons. We'll wrap up Jags Live when we come back. I always appreciate head coach Major Applewhite carving out some time to join us down here at Walk-Ons. You know, it's a weird week because, you know, oftentimes it's not Monday yet for him. That'll be tomorrow. Right. But oftentimes Monday is their really heavy prep day up at the field house. And so be able to sneak in the show a little bit here on a Wednesday right before that worked out pretty good.
Yeah, and it's been nice, I think, for everybody to have an extra 2 days, you know, again, for the players to rest.
Yeah.
I'm quite sure the coaches did not rest a bit.
Sure.
That's 2 more days of work for them. But again, you know, and we've said this on several occasions, man, don't give up on these guys because I'm telling you, we're there. And I know that's so cliche and nobody wants to hear that, including me.
Yep.
But I'm not saying it just to say it. We're there. We're close. And, you know, get one win and then start building on top of it. And I think we've got a good opportunity against Arkansas State. Good team, obviously, and playing with some confidence. But I think Coach is right. You know, they gave up 500-something yards of offense. So if there was an opportunity for us offensively to showcase some things, now is the time for sure. Now they're going to put some points on the board too, so understand that they've got some weapons on that side of the football. But I do think that just man, if we can get this game, we build, and all of a sudden we can get 3, 4, 5, maybe even 6 in a row.
And, you know, I'm sure that Arkansas State is kind of saying the same thing now, is that
of course.
They got that one last week, so they're saying, here it is. Now we're going to start rolling.
Correct. And that's the kind of momentum and that's the kind of confidence they're going to come in with.
Yep.
And that's why I agree with Coach that the first part of the ball game is extremely important because we have been able to put points on the board early, and then we just kind of take a dip and take a lull. And, even against Troy on Saturday, we – played really well at the end of the ball game, got the touchdown with less than 2 minutes to go to force overtime, and then came up a yard short in overtime. But we need to set the tone early, and we haven't done that consistently. Even in the Tulane game, you jump out 14-0, and then I think we gave up 27 straight. I think it was 27-14 before we got back in it. Not only jump out early, continue that onslaught, and we're capable of. Just got to make it happen.
I think we're still in the air. We had a
Yes.
little text snafu there, but I think we're all right. One thing I wanted to point out, too, was a quick stat thing about Arkansas State, specifically on defense. You mentioned how much they gave up to Texas State last time out. Average giving up 31.7 points per game, giving up yardage-wise 474.3 yards a game, and then rushing 212.8 yards on the ground they give up per game.
Right.
I mean, that's our game is run the football. So
I've heard we run the football.
We
a lot.
do that from time to time.
I do think that we'll see more passing.
Yes.
I do, and I think that's necessary because I think that'll open up the run even more. But I do, and I've said it in broadcast before, we've got to take some shots downfield. Even if it's a shot that's going to have no chance whatsoever of being completed, take a shot and make them start thinking about, okay, yeah, these guys will indeed come after us.
Yeah, for sure. And so, that's what's on tap here coming up this weekend. We've got, again, a great opportunity. You go out there and just play our brand of football and just go out there and make it happen.
Let's go get a win.
Yeah,
Easy enough.
I like the sound of that. So, we'll have a 6:30 Tuesday kickoff. And again, it's going to be a little different because it's a Tuesday. But again, like we were talking there with Coach, it's a great opportunity for some folks that maybe have never seen South Alabama football to show them what we do.
Right, and that's for the next two games. For this game against Arkansas State, for the next Thursday against Georgia State. We are, I guess the Thursday game will have a little more competition. We're going to have no other games, to my knowledge, on Tuesday.
I believe that's correct.
So
unless there's the weird like Conference USA game where they
or MAC or something like that.
something
I know like on a Wednesday night, Missouri State is playing somebody tonight. I think there's one or two games tonight.
Okay.
But the point is we've got a national stage, so let's make something happen.
Yeah, let's do that. So again, a 6:30 Tuesday kickoff coming up for South Alabama against Arkansas State. Our pregame coverage starts at 4:30 on the Jags Radio Network. That'll do it here from Walk-Ons. Join us next week right here, 6 o'clock. Jay's up. Go Jags.